What if you had control over your career? Here's the secret. In jobs with lower levels of autonomy, such as blue-collar skilled workers and routine clerical jobs, the difference in output between an average and top performer is around 20%. But in jobs with a high level of autonomy, where you can get more control over what you work on and can prioritize your time, top performers can be up to 800% more productive than average performers. In other words, if you want to contribute 10x the value or reap 10 times the rewards for your work, you need to do everything you can in your career to graduate from a work-doing role into one with 10 times the level of control over your work output. The trick is, how do you do that? There's one way you can change this dynamic. You can increase the total opportunities in your organization. When you are directly increasing your firm's book of business, you become incredibly valuable to the organization. And you can make that transition. And I've seen some do this in less than a year when you follow these 5 steps. The first step is a mistake to avoid. When you hear that you have to win new work for your firm, you might think that means a hard pivot into selling. If you're like me, this might put a sour taste in your mouth. But the truth is actually the opposite of this. I've taught over 50,000 professionals how to win new work and built an organization that works with the most prestigious firms in the world. But before any of that, I was an actuary with 0 sales experience, totally focused on delivery. But I've discovered that over and over, my story isn't unusual. Experts win work. People who are best in class at delivering results. The most important lever in developing business is developing trust. That's why the best business development professionals are operators too. No matter how much business you develop, you still want to have a hand in delivery. It's not either or, it's both. Doing the work makes you an expert, and continuing to do the work is what keeps you sharp. That's why step 1 is to keep doing the work. You'll still keep your delivery expertise. You're adding a new superpower, work-winning expertise, to your existing stack of skills. But the best way to win this new skill isn't diving headfirst into discovery calls with potential clients. Instead, think back to that graph that represents work that your organization has to do. This is your book of business. Predefined problems, work that's been sold and needs someone to get it done. Within that work, there are smaller pieces of the pie which represent your unique areas of expertise. Instead of accepting just pieces of the pie that are in your wheelhouse, you want to start taking a more exploratory mindset. What are all the possible ways to add value outside of your area of expertise? This starts internally. Maybe you can meet with a colleague for lunch to learn about the problems they solve. Maybe you can volunteer to lead an internal project that crosses over many areas of expertise. Doing these things will help you learn the broader capabilities of your firm. But the big value is bringing these resources to your client, learning their priorities, and bringing the best of your firm's resources to help them will massively increase your value to them. Over time, as you start adding value outside your narrow band of expertise, both internally and with clients, you'll increase your value to everyone you touch. The truth is that the people who have the most influence and the ability to move things forward are often the busiest. This is because they're great at execution. They're relied upon, but they're also great at connecting to others outside of their immediate circle of influence. Because they have access to others, their interests, perspectives, and skills, they have a bigger view of the whole. And they have the ability to create more new possibilities than any one individual could on their own. So in your first 30 to 60 days, focus your efforts internally within your own organization and increase your impact there. Learn what your partners do. Then start asking your clients what priorities and problems they have outside your area of expertise. Armed with their priorities and your firm's solutions, become a matchmaker. Assemble the team to tackle the most difficult problems. Doing so will elevate your value far beyond what you can have staying in your comfort zone. Become the person to call when someone doesn't know who to call. But there's one thing you must keep in mind before you make this transition. When I first started to prioritize business development, I was a nervous mess. I wanted to start winning work right away. I even asked for a manual on business development. Of course, it didn't exist. If I'm honest with myself, I was terrified of doing everything wrong, saying something the wrong way, or not asking for the business when I should. But I was extremely fortunate to be matched with a senior mentor in my organization. Together, we split double the usual client load while continuing to execute on work. Having this mentor in place allowed me to model a top performer. It gave me a daily push and motivation to pursue growth activities, and it saved me years of wasted time and mistakes that I'd have made without them. In a perfect world, your next step would be to find an internal guide like I had, who can provide you with feedback, guidance, and key mindsets to speed up your growth. This can be things like how to meet with clients, what to say, how to translate conversations into a proposal or timelines. Or the learnings can be even deeper, like the mindsets you need to succeed, or the moves you need to make in tough situations. But you don't always get to have a mentor like this on hand. In that case, this work has to be done externally. There's many ways to have a virtual mentorship. For example, through videos like the one you're watching now or on the rest of my YouTube channel. If you have the opportunity to attend live, in-person trainings like my Grow Big training, that can provide rocket fuel for your growth. Or you can benefit from the 25 years of business development experiences that I've packed into my book, Give to Grow. But once you discover a mentor or set of resources to accelerate your path toward winning work, you must go as quickly as you can from random acts of development to a system that results in consistent growth. Here's what many people do instead, which is a recipe to grow as slowly as possible. First, set an arbitrary target for revenue that you'd like to win for your firm. Maybe you make it 2x what the previous realistic target was. Because why not? Doubling your results sounds awesome. Then you look at that goal every day and see if it goes up. Let that target determine your mood and motivation. Your goal is to focus exclusively on outcomes. If you develop a new opportunity successfully or get a yes, you celebrate. If you get a no or don't hear back, you're discouraged. Either way, you're letting today's outcome determine your feelings around success. This is the fast track to burning out. Instead, I want you to set up a system that doesn't focus on some arbitrary goal. Instead of driving to specific outcomes, you're going to set up 3 key systems to drive effective actions. First, set a sacred 15-minute block of time weekly to practice your system. Some people like doing this over the weekend when things are slower. Others do it on a weekday morning or before a weekly one-on-one meeting. I'm a Friday at 3 p.m. guy, but do whatever works for you. Whatever you choose will be your non-negotiable business development planning time. This window is your personal training session for relationship building. You must prioritize this 15-minute window. Next up, the Protomoy list. Your future success and earning potential is capped by the quantity and quality of your relationships. So we're gonna make a prioritized list of the relationships you'll focus on. I call these my protomoy people. Protomoy in Greek means first among equals. This isn't your absolute limit of folks to invest in, but it's your top 5 to 10 that have priority. The goal is to make this a strategic mix of relationships to focus on. The bulk should be those who can choose you or recommend you for work, but you might have some who influence those decisions. You might even include some aspirational people you don't yet know. Third, set your 3 weekly actions. These are the 3 key actions related to your Protomoy list. Use your 15-minute weekly relationship session to set 3 actions you'll take this week to deepen your relationships with your key people. If you take this time and these actions weekly, you'll start to systematically grow your impact and your personal book of business. No more random acts of development. This is how top performers grow their careers. But wait, what about proposals, psychology, pricing? What about the big meeting to win the business? What about getting chosen? Winning work will happen more and more as a natural result of the actions we've discussed. If you follow the first 4 steps in this process, you'll get exposed to situations and find yourself in rooms that you haven't been in before. But the interesting thing is that those meetings won't feel forced. It won't be a sudden escalation of intensity. It will just be the natural, organic next step of the relationship building, trust, and proactive generosity you've been practicing for the previous 6 months. From one meeting to the next, you'll just make the next offer to be helpful. Most people think business development success happens in high-stakes formal pitches, but success happens before these moments. Someone has a relationship advantage before most people even get asked to pitch. You want to be that person. Otherwise, you'll miss out on 90% of your growth potential. The best business development opportunities are the ones you create yourself. That's why you want to build relationships before there's a financial payoff. If you want to take the next step to increase your career potential and growth skills, watch this video next, or check out my book, Give to Grow. I think you're going to love it.